Welcome everyone to another amazing episode of Beyond Boardroom Business. I'm your host, Coach Stephanie, and tonight I have another amazing guest. So please make sure you pull your friends, your family, and make sure that they are able to watch this episode because this amazing gentleman has so much information to share. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. And let's bring on Mr. Jukwan Brooks. How are you this evening, sir?
I'm doing good, having a blessed day. And yourself?
I am feeling fabulous. Thank you for asking. I mean, Jaquan, when I met you, you definitely had this professional aura about you. So, I had to stop by and see what you were doing and see what you were about. But for the audience, please tell us, who is Jukwan Brooks?
Um, Jaquan Brooks. It's funny talking about myself in third person, but Jaquan Brooks is a man that turned pain into purpose. I'm a man that went through a lot of battles in my life, went through a lot of trials and tribulations, but I didn't never let that defeat me. Jaquan Brooks is a man of God, and by him believing in God and having faith, he has made a great life for himself. And Jaquan Brooks, went from a high school dropout to now entrepreneur, author coach, and etc. It's a lot to Jaquan Brooks.
Yes, yes. Now, what made you drop out of high school?
So I dropped out when I was 15.
Okay.
So at the time, I was going to a religious private school. I was like the only black person in the private school, actually. What happened was I think it was like my 8th grade year at the private school. I missed a lot of days. So during ninth grade year, I had wanted to go to high school in my hometown of Thompson. So I wanted to go to Thompson High School. So my grandma, told my teacher and the faculty and stuff, like, hey, Quan wants to go to his high school in his hometown. And they was like, well, due to him missing all these days, he missed in middle school, and that was due to transportation issues that we had. They was like, well, he got to make up for all these days, so he get put in the right grade, you know, when he goes to the high school, which makes sense. So what happened? I think that started summer 2014. And I was taking all these tests and everything like that. I get caught up super quick around September of 2014. So they was like, well, it's great that he got done, but we think that, hey, he needs to stay for another year. We think it's too soon. So I'm like, all right, we're gonna do another year. So then, my freshman year of high school ends, the same thing. Oh, well, we think he need more books. He need to do more books. So,
Wow.
September of 2015, same thing. We think he needs to stay another year. So, my thing is like, okay, I'm getting a runaround, same thing. So finally, I get done with those books around July 2016. So I got done before the school year. So they
Okay.
didn't have an excuse this time. So it was like, I talked to my teacher. I was like, hey, am I good? She's like, oh, yeah, you're good. You're good. You're good. You don't got nothing to worry about. You'll be okay. So I'm thinking I'm straight until like my grandma, she started doing the negotiations with the high school I wanted to go to. And I never forget, I think it was July 27th or 2016. She had her head down coming back to the house. And I was
Wow.
like, something's up. And my spirit, I was like, knew something was up. And we found out that day that private school I was going to for about 5 years, they didn't have any academic credentials. So when
Wow.
Thompson High School officially found that out, they gave me two choices. They could like, hey, either Jaquan can go all the way back to ninth grade when I had planned on going to 11th, or
Mm.
he could take a test in every subject that we have from ninth and 10th grade and he get placed. And I was like, no, because these last 2 years, I dedicated my life just to get caught up in all this stuff just so I could put in the right grade. Now you're telling me I got to take more tests just get put in the right grade again. I was like, I'm not doing it. So it was the hardest decision I ever made in my life, but I dropped out of school that day.
And then what did you do?
I ain't gonna lie. At first, I pouted. I ain't gonna lie. I was like a baby at first because I cried. I used to go to sleep, I think around 8 o'clock at night, And I'd be like, God, wake me up. I'm in a bad dream. But it's funny. I used to wake up at 5:23. I think for 2 weeks straight, which is crazy.
Wow. Wow.
And Sound of Blackness, Optimistic would play on the radio at the same time every time I woke up. So I took that as a sign, like, don't you believe, keep your head to the sky. So I was like,
Yes.
I took that as a sign, like, hey man, you gotta keep going. So, I went and got my GED. I went started GED classes when I was 16. Um, I did that for like 1 year and 11 months. So I got my GED at 17, and 5 days after getting my GED, I signed up for college. Then I graduated from college at 20.
Awesome. Now, what made you become an author?
So it's a funny story. So like I've been writing really since I was 13. So I started writing poetry at 13, but really what made me started writing was when I was in college. One of the first classes I had to take was English literature, and
Okay.
I hated it. I didn't like English literature because I was like, we're doing paragraphs, we're doing all of this. I'm more of a mathematician type of person. Numbers, I'm your guy. Writing, nah, not at that time. But I never forget what really took two things took home with me. The main thing in that class was my English professor. She gave her as assignment. She was like, "Hey, I want you guys to do assignment either on a historical figure or a historical event for your final exam." So I was
Okay.
like, I'm gonna do it on Michael Jordan, on MJ, the greatest basketball player of all time. So it'll probably be 2 pages, but I'm like, the writer in me is like, I want to tell like a full story about Michael Jordan. It's Michael Jordan we talking about. I can't give you 2 pages. That would say my mind. So I wrote a whole 9-page paper, and the whole class, I think it was about maybe 20 of us in that class. They were surprised, like, "Whoa, he wrote 9 pages." I'm like, "It's Michael Jordan." Is Michael Jordan. And I ran up getting a 90 on that paper. But that literally is kind of crazy. Writing that story what grew my passion for writing. Then that,
Wow.
what I mean? Because just the love for it. And then like I'm gonna say the year after I'm gonna say the year after that, I was 19. I was watching this movie called All Day and the Night on Netflix. It was about this young black kid. I think he was in the streets. His goal was to be a rap star. Daddy, was in prison.
Mm,
But sadly, he basically become another victim, just like his dad. He winds up killing a guy for a drug dealer. He winds up in prison with his dad, and the end of the movie is him holding his son while he's in prison. And my
mm.
thing is like, it kind of boosted me up because I'm leaning back on my sofa. I was like, I'm getting tired of seeing stories like this where, hey, the black people and black youth is like, hey, they just become another statistic rather being a success story. So those two things right there was like the magnitude of what made me want to become a writer.
Wow, that's very powerful. And I'm glad that you're, standing up and taking on that challenge because it's very challenging for especially young black men in this society. So to, be able to step forward and not only advance yourself, but you care about others. That really says a lot about you and your character. So I commend you on that. And
Thanks.
what do you think can really help save your generation?
That's a great question. Personally, I think my generation is not seeing each other as competition because I feel like the biggest issue would come to us African Americans. I think we don't come together a lot. I think we actually hate each other more than any other nationality, which is crazy. I think it need to be more love shown towards each other. We need to show more love towards our fellow brother, our fellow sister. But it also starts, when the person is young. So I think mainly this love, really love and care need to be shown more within the black community.
That's true. I really agree with that. Now, when you write poetry, what inspires you?
That's a funny question. And I'll tell you why it's funny. So when I first started writing poetry, it was love. It was love pieces. So like I was like Lorenz Tate and Love Jones. Um, so that's like to get you how I started. When I was 13, I heard "Guys Let Shield" on the radio. And granted, I'm 13 at the time, so I don't know the song at all. But it's just the beat. Let's chill, baby, let's settle down. You know, so I heard this beat. I was like, I gotta do something to it. So I wrote it for this girl I had a crush on at the time.
Aw.
So, like, usually what I do when I write poetry, sometimes like I hear like a sound or I hear or like a melody from a beat. I don't know, it
Mhm.
does something to me, and I'm able to write something beautifully, thinking of a person that I'm thinking about. But then, like when I was probably about, let's see, I'm 25 now, 22. I was 22 when I first started performing poetry. I actually wanted to do something more deeper to really impact people. So, like, talking about my life, but talking about hard situation that's going on within the Black youth. So, when it comes to like writing poetry, for me, is like I like keeping everything, how can I say, authentic with what I
Mhm.
write, but
Right.
also stuff is like, hey, like similes that like
Mhm.
also could teach you like, huh, but it's like something hard hitting. Because like with Tupac, I use Tupac as a great example. Tupac and DMX, the reason why I like them as rappers because you hear the authenticity and the hardcore within their storytelling. That's how I'm also when I do poetry. Like I have a lot of people like, man, you give me goosebumps because I don't hold anything back because I feel like as a true artist, you gotta let everything out. Because I got this saying like you gotta let that full clip, you gotta let that full clip go. So when it comes to poetry, I let that full clip go and always.
Do you know any of your poetry by heart that you can recite right now?
I do. I could do my sacrifice and my goals and dreams. You want me to do the whole piece or just like a small portion?
A small portion.
Okay, let me see what part I can do.
Or the
We'll do
full.
this part. All right. Went to hell back to back, seen the devil face to face, beat the case every time. The vision wasn't always clear, but just like a plant in the garden, I was meant to blossom this thing called life. I point my finger to the sky, to the Most High, my God. And here's the main reason why I stand before you, a great man.
Mm. Wow. So how often, that was beautiful. How often do you go over your poem or anything before you commit it to memory?
At least, if I'm being honest with you, I'll say 5 to 10 times. So the one thing
Okay.
that helps me out is like when I write a piece, I always look at the theme of the piece. So like I got this one piece called Hood Tales. Hood Tales is all about like this kid, like he's 18 years, no, he's 17 years old. He got a baby on the way,
Ooh.
and he's basically in the streets, robbing people. Okay, hey, he got to make money. And long story short, at the end of the piece, he runs up killing a guy, getting life in prison. But like with that piece was like what I did was I basically read that piece to a Tupac, so many tears, instrumental. So usually what I do is like when I write a piece for me to memorize it, I look at the words and what song it reminds me of, and I match it
Mhm.
towards the song's beat, and I read it towards the song's beat, and I let it play. Then like once I'm driving around town and stuff like that, I just let it play, and I stay talking to it as it playing to me on the radio.
Oh, wow. Do you have a book of poetry?
I don't, but you know something, we gonna make that happen though.
Yeah,
Since
there
you
we go.
said it, we gonna make that happen. You just
There we
stirred something into me.
go. Now, when I met you at Nubian Bookstore, an amazing bookstore in Morrow, Georgia, Marcus Williams is the owner. When I met you there, you were having a book signing. Now, tell me about the book that you were promoting at that time.
So the book I was promoting was my second novel, The Adventures of a High School Scholar. The Adventures of a High School Scholar is all about a young kid named Alan Callahan. He's about to graduate high school. He's 18 years old, got a high GPA out of everybody in his high school. His parents is like, son, you need to go to college. You need to do this. You gonna make a lot of money with the grades you got. I know you're gonna be amazing. But Alan's like, I hear dad, I hear mom, but like, okay, who am I? Because they basically telling me who am I, but I don't know who I am, who I'm really is, and he don't really know who he's meant to be. So the whole book's really about him really finding who he truly is and finding out what he's meant to do in life. And the most beautiful thing about the book, in my opinion, is like once he really finds that out, it makes his own dad the main person that was pushing him to, go towards that direction. His dad leans back is like, I see my son, he's walking into his purpose, but what is my purpose? And it makes his dad look at his purpose and make peace with your past at the same time also.
Wow. That's nice. Yeah. Now I saw you speaking on a television show and you were reciting poetry on your YouTube channel, I believe. Do you recall where you were? It was really exciting.
It's funny you say that because I think next week actually make 1 year since I actually did that. Wow.
Wow.
So that's a beautiful moment. So that was on WJBF. That's a news station down here in Augusta, Georgia. Um, that was a dream come true for me because I grew up watching WJBF, and I'm from Thompson, Georgia, which is the country. We country in Thompson. So like for you to be from Thompson, Georgia, to be on WJBF, and a lot of people eyes, you made it. And I got a very fascinating story. Like performing it was amazing. It was amazing. But I tell you, the most beautiful moment was for me was I was coming back from Columbia back to my house in Augusta, and I was on the phone with my grandma. And then my grandma, she started yelling. She's like, "Quan, you on TV? You on TV?" I was like, "Huh?" She's like, no, you on TV. So that same video that you said you watched, it was broadcast on TV. And my grandma, she saw it while she was on the phone with me.
Oh, I know she was definitely proud to see that. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, well, so did you ever have stage fright?
Something I did. I used to. When I first started, I would perform like this. I have my head down, like I don't want
Oh,
nobody to see me. You know what I mean? So I say like my first two showcases, yes, because it's crazy. The way like my poetry career has gone is all glory to God. Because the third time I ever performed, I was a feature. I
ooh.
started. You know what I mean? So I did have stage fright, but what I learned over time is like the speed which you feel within. Then also like the biggest thing was for me, like let's say for example, I didn't memorize a piece, I'd be like, man, I don't know. So sometimes you try to memorize the piece and you don't got it fully memorized. So you go on stage, you have memorized, and then you say something, and you froze. And that has happened. I'm not afraid to
Yeah.
admit that has happened. But the main thing I tell people and tell myself is like, when you perform poetry, to me, the main thing that matters is the words that you're saying. So it's like if you don't have it memorized, just use your phone or use your journal to say it, because you have a lot of legendary people that did that. The Nikki Giovanni's, the Sonia Sanchez, the Maya Angelou's. A lot of them, they use notepads when they perform their poetry, so it's nothing wrong with that. So that's something I had to learn over time. It's like, hey, just be comfortable with where your memorization is at. If you don't got to memorize in here, at least you got it written down on paper. Just speak it. So at least the words that you wrote down could still impact somebody the way you want it to be impacted.
Woo, that's right. Now, um, do you feel free when you write? How how does it make you feel?
Man, I'm glad you asked me that. That made my day. Seriously. It's like a therapy session, man. I tell people writing is my main hobby because people are asking, "What you like to do?" I was like, "I love to write." Because writing, I could do it. I could do it all day. Somebody was to tell me like, what you could do all day. I'll just write. I love it so much. It's like my wife almost. That's how much I love it. But it's like I don't know. Like for me, it's like a therapy session, man. Just be that pen and that paper. It is like, hey, all the emotions and the feelings I feel inside, I can just let it all out and just carry it towards that paper. That's why I love writing books. Like I tell people when I write books, I do 2,000 words a day. I do 2,000, but it's like it's nothing to me, man. It's kind of like Stevie Wonder playing the piano. It's like when I click those keys, it's just like, hey, it is something like I always tell people the blood vessels that are in my body. Every word you see me write, it represent the blood vessels that are flowing within my body right now. That's how much I
Wow.
love writing.
Now you said pen to paper. Now, is it really pen to paper, or are you on your laptop or on your notepad? iPad? Is it really pen to paper?
It's both, really. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like my second novel, the one you saw me showcasing at Nubian, I'm gonna say probably 70% of that was actually written down on pen and paper in my first novel because I'm trying to think. Yeah, 2 years ago I had a cubicle job, so I worked at the IT job. So I'd be on the phone with people at the same time while I'm on the phone with somebody. I'd be like, okay, Alan doing this, Then I'd be on another book. I was like, Steven doing this, I mean, it got to the point where my coworkers they knew about it. It's like, oh, Jukwan, you writing another book? I'm like, yeah, writing another book. They'd be like, well, tell me what's going to happen. I was like, you gotta know when it comes out. So I can't really tell you.
Oh, it's definitely in your DNA. So, do you enjoy when you write books, the beginning, the intro, the body, or the ending? What is the most challenging part of the book writing process for you, or is it?
I'll say the middle portion. I always feel like it's the middle portion, but I'll be lying if I say it was hard for me.
Okay.
Because usually the beginning is pretty easy. Because for me, for myself, when it comes to writing a book, I already know like the impact I want to make when I'm about to write a book. So I already know how I kind of want it to end. It just sometimes I get to the middle, it's like, okay, we got this storyline, what we gonna do. So like usually what I do is like I'll go back and reread what I just wrote and see
Okay.
like, okay, what parts can we pick out from that need to be more developing, that need to be more developed within the story. I feel like that's the key. Because one thing I always tell people when it comes to writing books, everything from the beginning to end has to make sense. And I tell people, for me, I'm the type like when I write a book, my stuff got to have substance and it got
Yes,
to make sense. If it don't have substance or make sense, I won't read it myself or put it out myself.
I love it. Yes. So you enjoy writing fiction over nonfiction? Do you have a preference?
I say fiction. The reason being, um, I'll say ever since I probably was a kid. Yeah, ever since I was a kid, I always had a fantasy of just writing like what if scenarios. Like I never forget being 9 years old. I wrote a what if scenario if Biggie Smalls would have never died. I think looking back at that, I think that was about maybe one, two, three, four. Probably was 10 pages. No lie to you. Probably was 10 pages. It was like a big what if scenario. Like if I had that paper today, you'd be like, "Hey, this could be realistic. He wouldn't have died." You know what I mean? But fantasy because fiction because like I'm the type like yes, I could talk about myself. Like my first novel is really loosely based on myself, but my thing also was like I wanted to really write something also that people could relate to. Cause like sometimes I see stuff what's going on within America, especially young Black America. I want to hit those subjects. I'd be like, okay, I see what's going on here. They think this way, and I'm like, well, I've been through something similar. Let me show you like a better way you can make it out. Cause my thing is like I want to write stories that really uplift people versus like, hey, you being depressed or you being
Yes.
depressed or sad over a story. My thing is like I want you to be entertained. I want you to laugh. I want you to cry. But once at the end of any book you read of mine, my thing's like, dang, that brother got me uplifted. You got me want to jump for Jesus. Hallelujah. That's how I want it to be when you read a book of mine.
So, do you plan on writing scripts for movies in the future?
I do actually. So it's funny you like because my first novel on The Boy It Comes from Nothing, I had somebody say I could see this being a movie because
Mhm.
my first novel I actually wrote it as a movie. I actually did.
Uh,
You know what I mean? And I do got plan on turning it into a movie because I look at Robert Townsend. I think he's
okay.
to me very underrated as a
Yes, I
legend
agree.
within our community. And my thing is like with the books that I write, one day I do want to turn those into movies because I know like, hey, it'll be so many people. You got some people that don't read books, but they watch movies. So either way, like you could learn from either story either way.
That's true. So, have you mastered the art of storytelling?
I say, I want to say yes, but I still consider myself somewhat of a newbie. Not
Okay.
really, not really. I can say I'm like a mid OG on the block kind of writing. But have I mastered the art of storytelling? I'll say yes. I don't say yes I have because the reason being, and this is how I know I did. So my first novel, The Boy It Comes from Nothing, it's basically like a street novel. It's all about a young kid that's on the streets. He's selling dope. and he basically trying to get out his drug lifestyle. And I never forget, I had a book signing last month in my hometown of Thompson. This white lady, she just smiled at me, and I looked at her. I was like, "She got my first novel." And this white lady, you know, I don't know her life, but she was like, she came to me. It's a whole street novel talking about hood stuff and hood lingo of my generation. And she was like,
Mm,
I read the whole thing, and I peeped the meaning of what you were saying in this book. It's really all about really, meeting a young man where he's at and really trying to transform his life. And she even told me, she's like, the street lingo, I really didn't understand at first, but Urban Dictionary helped me out using her words. But it's like she understood the message. So I feel like in a way, yes, but I feel like as a writer, you always have them other books like in the future where you stay getting better at. So I would say like, hey, I'm good, but I know I still could be greater.
okay. Okay. I could feel that. Yeah, definitely. And you just have so many talents, but you also mentioned that you're an IT person. Can you elaborate on that?
I am. So when I say IT, so basically I went to college to be a computer support specialist. So when I graduated Augusta Tech in 2021, I graduated with a diploma in computer support specialist, a certification in network support, and
Wow.
also a certification in hardware maintenance. So now I'm an imaging consultant for Lexmark, it's a company outside of Louisville, Kentucky. So in all, I oversee about I think 750 printers in all within the Augusta region for people in
Wow.
Augusta. Yeah.
That's huge. That's huge. Wow. I mean, you just have so many talents. That's really amazing. Now, I want to, what keeps coming back to me is when you mentioned earlier about how you were the only melanated student in your class. How did that make you feel not being around melanated people? Did you feel racism or did you feel slighted while you were going through that?
That definitely, I'd be lying to you if I didn't. Because
Okay.
like it's kind of I always tell people when I was in my private school, I was like, if I'm being straight honest, I was probably the best student, like academically wise. You was to look at my first photo on Facebook, I got medals, trophies holding it. And that's from all the words I went to the private school. And I tell people, my classmates, they loved me, but my teachers, I didn't feel that love from them because I feel like for them, it was like, this black kid, he's running, he's the head honcho of the school, the main one that getting all these rewards. So I did experience a lot of stereotype from them. Like if I wore my hat backwards,
Oh,
they would
wow.
get on to me. They won't get on to my friend Taylor, who's white. Or like if I ain't have my tie a day or I ain't have my belt, they'd get at me for little stuff, but not anybody else. So I definitely faced a lot of demonstration issues while going there.
Wow. I really hate that you had to experience it, but it did just sharpen your blades and make you the man that you are now. And so, how do you inspire people on how not to give up?
I'm not to give up.
Yeah.
Always think about your why. Um, I never forget. Like I think it was June 4th, 2018. So I failed the GED test 4 times. So I
Oh.
failed it for the last time that day, and I was really gonna give up. Seriously,
Mm.
um, I was about like, hey, I could be a bagger at a grocery store. I could work at a factory. I'd be okay. Cause y'all seen everybody from my hood do that, and it's
Yeah.
like they look okay, but really they wasn't.
Right.
But right when I was thinking that, a friend of mine, he don't know my sister race, and this is just divine calling that happened. A friend of mine posted on IG, before you think about quitting, think about why you started.
Mm.
So when I read that message on IG that day, I thought about why. I thought about, okay, I'm working hard to make a better life for myself. To one day make sure my grandma is good. One day to be successful. One day to have my own business. One day, to have the wife and the family with the pearly gates in the hills. And that literally popped in my mind. So like when that happened, it built a huge fire within inside of me. And due to that, I never ever think about quitting. Whenever that thought might hit my brain, I quickly think about my why. Like, why am I doing this?
Wow. Wow, that's great. So, what in closing, because this has been an amazing conversation. In closing, do you have any words of that you would like to share with our
Absolutely.
audience? Yes.
Thank you. I'll say the main thing is like when times happen in your life, when it gets tough that you want to give up, always know your worth, your value, know that you are somebody.
Yeah.
Believe in God, have faith in Him, seriously. Have faith in God. I wouldn't be where I'm at today once for God and Jesus Christ. I wouldn't. Believe in God, believe in Jesus Christ, believe in yourself, and also take action. Take action on what you want to do in your life. And then once you do that, it's not gonna happen overnight. But eventually once you do those three things, greatness will appear in your life.
That is so true. Wow, you're very wise for your age. And I'm very happy to have met you. And congratulations on all of your success as an entrepreneur, author, poet, motivational speaker. You are the man. So, yeah, I definitely would love to follow up with you in a couple of months and see what's going on in your world and how you're saving lives. Is that cool?
That's cool, yes ma'am.
And then what is your social media
So
if
my
people want to follow you?
Yes, ma'am. So my social media, Facebook, Jukwan Brooks. You can follow me on there. You also can follow my business profile, Better Knowledge LLC on Facebook. Then
Okay.
Instagram is gonna be bossman.quan. So Quan is spelled K as in kilo, W as in win, A as in apple, then N as in Nancy. And then also you can follow me on Better Knowledge LLC on Instagram for the business profile also. And then I'm on LinkedIn also. If you got a LinkedIn profile, holla at your boy. Follow me at Jaquan Brooks.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. And again, I really appreciate this time with you, and I look forward to interviewing you in the future.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me on your platform.
You're welcome. All right, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. Again, this is Beyond Boardroom Business with your host, Coach Stephanie. And tonight's guest, Mr. Jaquan Brooks, is such an amazing man. Make sure you follow him. And his website is jaquanbrooks.com. Thank you all so much. And as always, I look forward to seeing you all again this week, next week, and every week after. Same time, 7 p.m. on my social media platform, as well as iHeartRadio, Alexa, Spotify, etc. Please like and share, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. In the meantime, stay powerful, stay present, and stay prayerful. Peace.